Hi, I'm Liv, and today I thought I'd talk about the worst books I have read in 2024. I just thought, and we're probably coming to the end of when I've done this, I just thought I'd upload basically every day for 3 days at the end of Christmas. Just thought it might be fun, and I basically wanted to do loads of videos that were to do with the 2024 reads. And I didn't really want to just have every single upload in January be about 2024 because obviously that year has passed at that point. So I thought it'd be a bit boring to have basically 3 weeks of 2024 based chatty videos. So I just thought I'll get them all out 3 days in a row so you guys can see them, and then we can move on with the year and go into the new year. I've got everything written down. I'm just getting up my notes now. These books are not necessarily books that I gave a 1 star. Some of them I actually gave a 4 star, but they did disappoint me, and that is why I'm mentioning them. Okay, I'm gonna start with one that is a pretty recent read, and this is Nothing Like the Movies by Lynn Painter. Lynn Painter, I loved better than the movies. I gave it a 5 star in fact. I absolutely loved Wes and Liz. I found them absolutely adorable. Liz was a hopeless romantic, and Wes was her annoying next door neighbour, and she asked him to help her appear as desirable so that she could get with their childhood best mate, Michael. At the same time, the feelings with Wes and Liz were sparking, and it was such a good book. Now, Nothing Like the Movies, it was a decent idea. Nothing Like the Movies was meant to be about Wes and Liz again, and this time they're in college and Wes and Liz have broke up. It's because they've moved on obviously, and a tragic thing happened which resulted in them breaking apart. Now Wes has got his life back on track. He wants to win Liz back in any way that he can, but there's a new guy in her life. Now this is what the blurb said, and I was so here for it. I was so interested, and then I read it, and I'll be honest, it was a little bit disappointing. It was not a flop for me. I still enjoyed it because I like to see Wes and Liz again. However, my problem with this book was that Liz felt like a different character. In the first book, she was so into romance reading. She was obsessed with romantic films. That was the whole premise of the book, was that her mom grew up with her watching romance films, and so she's always enjoyed them and been a hopeless romantic because of her mum. Now in this new book, it seems we don't really get to hear about her mum apart from once in the book, whereas Better Than the Movies was all about her mum and all about how she spoke about her mum and this bond that she had with her. This book, it felt as though Liz had just completely changed. She's not a hopeless romantic anymore. She hates romance. She swears off romance. She doesn't date. She doesn't even like to talk about anything to do with romance, and she's seen as one of the lads. This is completely shocking to Wes because he obviously has grown up with Liz being obsessed with romance. She's a hopeless romantic, and all of a sudden she just changes, and it's a bit of a shock. And it's a shock to us too, because I know people grow and evolve and everything, but that was a pretty drastic change considering that her mum was so obsessed with romance films. The big reasoning for them breaking up, it was hyped up and hyped up and hyped up, and then it was as if we were going to find out a big secret. But it wasn't a big secret because we'd kind of already been told it as we were going along, and we didn't realise that that was the secret that he'd been keeping, and so the delivery of it didn't really work for me. Felt like we got to know Wes a lot more, which I appreciate. However, Liz just felt like a side character. And I don't know why. It was a dual perspective, but she just felt like a side character. Next on the list is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I read this book in January, and I'd never heard of Emily Henry before. I'd only really heard her spoken about by Sarah Crowley and Hayley Pham and Destiny Sidwell, and I was massively disappointed. I felt like the hype was really there for her, and then I read her book and I was just like, what the hell? This book was meant to be about these two people who had broken up, and they'd been together for a while, and their friendship group, they were all friends and everything. So basically this couple was in the friendship group and friends with all of them, both of them were, and they were meant to go on their yearly holiday. They do this annual holiday, and they didn't know how to tell their friends that they've broken up, so they decided to fake that they were still together to get through the holiday, and this was going to be the last one anyway, so they thought it'll be alright. It doesn't matter, no one's going to find out that we're not together anymore. However, when they got there, feelings are still there. It's very awkward. We get to see what happened for the reasoning for them breaking up. We get to see flashbacks of them getting together, the problem that happened, and the split up, and we have to we watched that whilst we're also watching, so it's like a dual timeline thing. We're also watching them start to go through their feelings and figure out if there is anything left for them. It's a great idea, however, it was done in such a crap way. By this, I mean the storyline was really basic. It was one of those typical, like, what do people call it? Hallmark movies, you know, this Hallmark holiday movies that you can really just guess the ending. And friends were not very thought out characters. I'd say there was only about one of them that actually even remembered who they were. I don't remember any of their names, by the way. Some like friends on this holiday. There was two couples with them on the holiday. And I honestly, all I can remember is that one was a straight couple and one was a lesbian couple. And the girl in the straight couple was quite fiery. That's literally all I can remember. I have no idea who the boy was who was with her. I don't have a clue. Don't remember him. All I can remember him as the boyfriend in my head. That's literally it. The characters were just not layered. They had no details about them, no personality. They just felt like a name on a page, and I can't stand that. So it really I really struggled with this book basically, and I thought that the ending was very cliche, and I just found no interest in this book. It really bored me. Next, I have The Housemaid is Watching by Freida McFadden. It's so hard for me to slate a Freida McFadden book because I love so much of her work. She's a brilliant thriller writer. However, with this one, she completely missed the mark. It was the third installment of the Housemaid series, and everyone was really excited for it. It was so hyped up. And the Housemaid series, if you don't know what it is, it's about a girl called Millie. She's very fiery. She's had some secrets in her past, and now she has become a housemaid, and it's the only job that she can really take right now. And she's really trying to get herself out of a bad situation. In this housemaid job, weird stuff happens, and she is trying to figure out the truth of what's going on between this couple. So the whole point of the Housemaid series, this is going to be a spoiler, just to let you know in 3, 2, 1, please click off or skip on if you don't want to know anything about the Housemaid series. The Housemaid series is all basically about Millie trying to help girls get away from toxic, horrible husbands who are abusive. That's the premise of the books. It's the premise of the first 2 books, and it's the storyline that is it's like a reoccurring storyline that she is wanting to help people, and there is no length too far for her to go, including breaking the law, to save people, because she does not want anybody to be stuck in a situation, and she knows that some people need help getting out. And she has a boyfriend that used to work with her in the second book who is very good at getting like fake IDs for people. So this third book was meant to be a flash forward into the future, years into the future, where her and the boyfriend are now married, and they are moving into this suburban area, and there's somebody across the street, a housemaid, who keeps watching, and she just feels like somebody is always watching her. They haven't got blinds up on their house yet because they've just moved in, and she feels like someone is always creeping in on them and peeping through the windows. So it sounds like a great concept of like, is it paranoia or is it real? It sounded like an amazing concept. However, we went on so many tangents. First of all, the housemaid actually wasn't really in the book that much. This housemaid that we were meant to be creeped about and the housemaid is watching, she wasn't really watching much because she was never there. She turned up a few times, did some weird stuff, and then the truth got revealed, and it was just kind of like, I kind of get where you're coming from, but at the same time, no. We then had another problem, was that Enzo in this book, the boyfriend, was, well, the husband, he has been so smart in the other 2 books. He was so clever. And then in this book, they kind of dumb him down. So I'm going to also tell you that he is, I think he's Italian, and he is very smart in the other 2 books. He's very clever, and he obviously gives people fake IDs and everything. Like, he wants to help people. In this book, it was like he was just a thick guy, and they really played up this whole like, oh, I'm just Italian, I have no idea what these American customs are. And I really hated that. Enzo is a fully fleshed character in the other 2 books, so what the hell they did with this book, I don't understand. There was a neighbour across the street who was very pretty, and she was very forward with Enzo, very much trying to get into his pants, always inviting him round, and Enzo acted completely oblivious to the whole thing. Millie would tell Enzo that she's worried or that she felt uncomfortable, and you'd think, you know, a character like Enzo, who's very clear thinking and he cares about this woman a lot, would say, you know what, Millie, I understand, I'll stay away from her. No, we got, oh, you're worrying too much, or, oh, it's all in your head. Like Enzo would ever say that. It was so random. I also thought that the time jump was too far forward. We literally jumped from them being in their 30s or 20s to late 40s with 2 children who were already about to be in high school. That's a bit too much of a time jump for me. I felt like we missed out on a wedding, which we didn't get in a novella on, but we missed out on that, like the details of a wedding. We missed out on how the hell kids came into the picture. We missed out on a lot of stuff, and I just felt like it was too much of a time jump for us to really stay with these characters. Storytelling was so bad. I also felt like the plot lines were unfinished. So by this, there was a plot line in this book in which the boy they had, the child, the son, he was very violent in one of the scenes, and I think he like attacked one of his classmates or something. And it was kind of made out that, oh my god, maybe he's got this from Millie, because Millie has got a violent streak. That plot line was abandoned very quickly. Yeah, they really did drop that plot line. It didn't make sense. There was also a secret closet in this book. There was like a secret like room, and it was like hidden behind a door. That was kind of seen and then never really gone back to ever again. We didn't even get to see like why there was a secret room in this house. It was literally abandoned, the plot point. Nobody spoke about it again. It was so strange. Next, I have Caraval by Stephanie Garber. I decided to read Caraval this year. I've had it on my shelf for, well, since December, and I really wanted to give it a go. Loads of people say it's amazing and that it really leads up to the Once Upon a Broken Heart series, and I was so excited. The book looked beautiful. However, it was just the outside was beautiful because the contents was shite. It was really bad. So the problems I had with Caraval was, well, first of all, it's very fantasy-esque and it takes place in this world that is a game. So there is a game that happens every year and you have to get invited to go to it. You can't just like turn up. And this girl who we're following gets given an invitation to go to Caraval and be in the game. Goes, and they keep telling her everything's not as it seems, remember. And she has to do these games and read clues and stuff to try and find the prize at the end. And like the winner gets like to meet Legend, who is this person that nobody knows who he is. It's a great like concept, and I did enjoy sections of this book. Like I really did. I found it so entertaining at parts. However, the ending was very disappointing. I'd say that it kind of gave and it was all a dream sort of vibes. It was very lazy, very boring, and I wasn't interested in it at all. I was very let down. I also felt like some of the characters were ruined by the end. I really loved some characters, and then just by the end I was just like, I'm not vibing with this. Not the main character in the first book, the sister of her. She was very interesting, very irritating, and I just found her very childish. I didn't like her as a character. I just felt her very annoying, and this book let me down a lot because I was really excited for it. Next, I have Yours Truly by Abby Jimenez. This book didn't just let me down, it actually really upset me. So this book we follow 2 main characters, one of which is called Brie and the other one I think is called Jacob. I think it might be Jacob. So Brie is dealing with a lot of things in life. She's had a divorce, her brother needs a transplant, otherwise he's gonna die, and she really wants this promotion at work, but the new guy that's turned up, Jacob, is clearly gonna get it, and she is just really annoyed with life. And she befriends Jacob, not by choice, but because he is trying to befriend her. Now, the start of this book is great. Jacob has very bad anxiety and social anxiety, hence why he doesn't really talk to anyone at work. It's not because he's snobby, it's because he's genuinely awkward, like socially awkward. So Brie decides to help him and try and give him some pointers, and it's really cute that she's really trying to help him out here. Now, if this book carried on this way and was just like the first half of this book, I would have absolutely adored it. It was the second half of the book that let this book down. The second half of this book, we saw that Jacob really struggles with his anxiety. He has panic attacks, and we get to see him have a panic attack, and it's very hard to watch. I'm just going to tell you now, this will be a spoiler, so if you don't want to know about this book, then sod off, but if you don't mind, then I'm going to say it. Jacob has a panic attack, and literally straight after it, our female main character sleeps with him, and they have their first time together. Like first time sleeping with each other, and straight after, and I mean straight after, Brie literally flees the scene of the crime being like, oh, I need to think about things, this is too much for me. And it's just, honestly, just feels like, really, he's just had a panic attack, you slept with him and now you're leaving him? What the hell's going on? So I really didn't like that. I also didn't like more towards the end that he was trying to be there for her, and she was hiding things from him that she should not hide from him. There was just so much about this book from her that I hated. We have 2 books left, just to let you know. So, first of all, we have Betting on You by Lynn Painter. What is it with Lynn Painter? I really, yeah, her books are a hit and miss with me. But this book is Betting on You, and I despised this book. So, this book, we have our male and female main characters both end up bonding because their parents are both getting separated. They keep bumping into each other in really strange circumstances. So first of all, they bump into each other at the airport, then it turns out they're sitting next to each other on the plane, then they end up going to work one day and it's both of them their first job or something, or like it's their first day working at this job, and it turns out they're both at the same place, and it's a lot of like, oh my god, we keep bumping into each other, what the hell's happening? But that part was great, it was a great idea. However, the problems with this book I had was our female main character has one goal in this book, and that is to break up her mum from her boyfriend. Her mum is seeing a new guy and he is great for her. She is having so much fun and she's happier, yet she's trying to break up them because she wants her mum to alter herself again. I just felt this was a very selfish plot line, and I mean, you're seeing your mum happy and yet you're trying to end that happiness for your own selfishness. So from that alone, I really didn't like the female main character. We also then found out towards the end that the male main character ended up doing something. There was a third act breakup, basically. The male main character had done something, and the thing he had done, honestly, is not something that I could ever forgive someone for. It's not something that you could come back from, and his actions throughout the whole end of the book I really didn't like, and he just came across as an utter, how do I say this without like getting this video taken off YouTube? He was just an utter idiot. I just could not stand him, and he was very cocky, which again, annoying, and he came across so young. Like, these kids kind of came across, I think they were meant to be adults, but they came across literally as like 12-year-olds. Like, it was so strange. But honestly, I could not stand the female or the main character. They were both terrible characters. I mean, they knew that her best friend was with a really bad guy, like a really douchey guy, yet they didn't tell them to break up because they were making a bet on one of them thinking they would break up and the other one thought they wouldn't. But yet they wouldn't tell the best friend, by the way, I think you shouldn't be with this guy because he's actually a real bad guy. She didn't say that once to her best friend. I just found that really, really strange. The last one is a bit controversial. It is a book by Sarah J. Maas. It is A Court of Silver Flames. Wow. Not the vibe. I really couldn't stand this book, and I'm going to read you my points quickly and then like explain further. First of all, I put that this book completely ignored the progression of Nesta and Cassia's relationship in A Court of Wings and Ruin. In A Court of Wings and Ruin, there was a big section where we saw physically how much they cared for each other in a way that one of them tried to protect the other. That is completely abandoned in this book, and they act like they've never spoken to each other before. Very strange idea, very strange decision to have been made by Sarah J. Maas. I also didn't like Cassian's character in this book. I felt like he just felt like a completely different person. He came off as more of like a lad than anything else. There is a large amount of this book which is used up by talking about stairs. Literally all we talk about is stairs. It is so incredibly boring, and it's just basically there's a big plot line on like how she has to get down these stairs. It's like 10,000 steps, and every day she's trying, and then, oh, I can't do it anymore, let's go back to the top. It's very boring and unnecessary. It was just felt like a very unnecessary plot point. I thought that there was a section in this book, okay, and I thought it was very weird and very unnecessary. Sarah J. Maas's books are known for being spicy, okay, they have spicy stuff in them, and this book had these characters fantasizing about each other. Pretty normal. However, Nesta started fantasizing not just about Cassian but also Asriel. Now, Asriel and Cassian are like brothers, so I just felt it weird in an actual book for Nesta to fantasize about her, Cassian and Asriel together. maybe in a fanfic or maybe in a Wattpad. I just didn't think it was right for an actual book. It felt wrong, so I just didn't like that bit. I also thought that the training situation was absolute joke. I felt it's so boring, and considering we're trying to train these girls to like be warriors, the training they did was stuff that I do, like, oh, let's do abs today. What? We're really trying to be warriors when we're still stuck on abs? It felt so boring and it felt too human. And one thing I love about the ACOTAR series is that it feels so far-fetched. It feels so mystical and magic and really out there that you really can't see any of like the human world in this ACOTAR universe. I mean, another thing I've just realised, there was barely any creatures in this book. Like in the other books, it's a big thing to have so many mythical and mysterious creatures. Like we had the Surreal in the other books. We have all these different creatures that look different, there's loads of them. However, in this book, there was literally none, and it felt weird to say the least. Like it felt very strange, and again it felt more human than anything, and I don't like that in a fantasy. I think this book felt disconnected from the rest of them. It felt like a complete different universe. I've also written down that the whole right situation was weird. So there was this like thing that Illyrian warriors have to take part in, and Cassian, Rysand and Asriel did when they were younger, and it was this insanely difficult challenge. These girls who have literally had barely any training do this challenge with literally no difficulty and relatively easy. Like they do it with relatively no problems at all. And it's very strange to me how they easily just got through this challenge that nearly killed these 3 Illyrian soldiers who, I mean, look at them, they are absolutely massive. They're just built up and they are ready for battle, they're soldiers. Like, I just felt very strange that these girls who literally have no battle training really managed to do it. It made no sense. It was lazy writing. I've also written that the storyline was boring, there was no pace, and I also put that it really tried to ruin Rysand this book. It really changed his whole like personality. It felt very odd. I didn't understand why we changed Rysand's personality in this book. It just felt really weird. It was like you're trying to make us dislike him for the sake of siding with Nesta for a minute, which didn't work. I just hated Nesta more, if I'm honest. It really bugged me. I just really hated this book, and I also hated that, in all honesty, unpopular opinion, don't care, I think the whole ending with the whole hospital scene, I think that was written in just to give Nesta some sort of redemption arc, which she wouldn't have had because she's a terrible character. And people say, oh, you don't understand Nesta unless you're like Nesta. I disagree. I'm like Nesta. I'm very fiery, very defensive, very much like to keep to myself and everything, very angry. I get that. I've been there. However, it didn't excuse anything that she did to anybody. It really tried to give her a redemption. And whenever anyone talks about how annoying Nesta is, the first comments you get back are, you just don't understand her because you're not like her. Believe me, I get her. I get where they were trying to go with her, and big swing and a miss for me. That's been the video. I hope you guys have enjoyed. Tell me down below some of the worst books you've read this year, and I will see you guys soon with another video. I hope you all have a happy new year and a happy New Year's Eve, and I'll see you guys soon. Subscribe, like, and do all that stuff, and